Wrestling at 113 pounds, for Souhegan, freshman Sam Terrell. For Spaulding, freshman Austin Burnett. And for your Grizzlies, sophomore Matthew Familia. At 120 pounds, taking a forward hit for Souhegan, freshman Ryan Hauser. Wrestling at 126 pounds, for Souhegan, freshman Cam Alberts. And for your Grizzlies, junior co-captain Jack St. Jean. Wrestling at 132 pounds, for Souhegan, freshman Nicolo Lazari. And for your Grizzlies, junior Noah Rapazzo. Wrestling at 138 pounds, for Souhegan, senior Jake Upton. And for your Grizzlies, senior co-captain Hunter Aldenberg. At 145 pounds, taking a forfeit for your Grizzlies, senior Eric Choquette. At 152 pounds, taking a forfeit for your Grizzlies, senior co-captain Pete Bickford. At 160 pounds, taking a forfeit for your Grizzlies, sophomore Emilio Barrier. Wrestling at 170 pounds, for Spaulding, junior River Beasley. And for your Grizzlies, sophomore David Gibson. At 182 pounds, taking a forfeit for your Grizzlies, sophomore Xavier Young. Wrestling at 195 pounds, for Spaulding, senior Dylan McClellan. And for your Grizzlies, sophomore Josh White. At 220 pounds, taking a forfeit for your Grizzlies, senior Nigel Okerickley. And at heavyweight, taking a forfeit for Spaulding, sophomore Jonathan Branis. Now let's introduce the coaching staffs for this evening. The Red Raiders are led by head coach Alec Clement and assistants Kevin LaRoche and Evan Ronan. The Sabres are led by head coach Alex Patera. Your Grizzlies are led by head coach Keith Betchen. His assistant coaches are Alex Paraskevas and Josh Devering. Can we please have the Spaulding and Goffstown captains to the center of the mat for tonight's coin toss. The captains for the Sabres are Sam Terrell and Jake Upton. Captains for the Red Raiders, Dylan McClellan. Captains for the Grizzlies are Hunter Aldenberg, Pete Bickford, Jack St. Jean, along with honorary captain of the night, Emilio Barrier. Tonight's official is Jim Charlotte. The Grizzlies will have a choice of even bouts against the Raiders.
Well, welcome to tonight's matchup. We actually have a try tonight. We have, obviously, Goffstown wrestling tonight. And first up will be Spaulding, and then followed by Souhegan. First match of the night is at 170 pounds. Wrestling for Goffstown is sophomore David Gibson. He's going to be competing against junior River Beasley for Spaulding. He's already on a quick takedown, 2-0 is David Gibson. Looks like he's running a cross-wrist series on top, where he jumps to the side and gets both his hands on opponent's one hand, looking for a turn. Looks like he's going to get a turn here. He's getting some back points. So you're going to see the ref count off. It looks like he's going to get to a 5 count, so he's going to get 3 near fall points. So the score is going to quickly go from 2-0 to 5-0 as he was working an ankle, looking for some breakdowns. He's got a 2-on-1, then he goes quickly over to a half, and it looks like this one's deep. He's going to look to put her away here on this half. He's got plenty of time, a little over a minute to go, and looks like he's going to let her come back, and he's going to get another 3 near fall points, looking for maybe another. Looks like he's working that bar series, and now he's got that locked up. And he's going for another turn. 50 seconds left to go. Ref is counting off, so he's going to go from 8-0 to 11-0 unless he gets the pin here. And doesn't look like he's going to get the pin there. So he's up to 11-0 already really quick. 15-0 will be a tech fall, so he's 4 points away from that. Gibson only a sophomore, but doing really well so far on the varsity level this year as he's working another turn. So the score is going to go to 14-0. And he's 1 point away, 1 turn away from getting a tech fall. But David's looking really strong this year as he gets another turn, and looks like this one's pretty good. And yeah, he's going to get the fall for Goffstown. So pretty good strong showing for David Gibson tonight at 170 pounds, getting the fall with 11 seconds left to go in the first period. So great win for him. Looking really strong, been out already a few tournaments this year. Looking really good for Goffstown. I think there's going to be great things for him to come in the next couple of years in the Goffstown lineup. So you just looking at the future of Goffstown right there as another future star coming to get a forfeit at 182 pounds is Xavier Young. Xavier's doing having a really good start of his season, looking really strong. Just needs to get a little bit more technique under his belt, but the strength is certainly there for Xavier at 182 pounds. And that's going to bring up Josh White at 195 pounds. He's going to be going against senior Dylan McClelland. Josh White, again, another strong young wrestler for Goffstown. Again, only a sophomore as Xavier and Gibson as he's looking for a high crotch and doesn't get it. But good movement for him right off the whistle there. Coach is in the corner talking about, watching his ties. You get to be the upper weights. Oftentimes a lot of throws. We saw that last week at the Hollis Brookline tournament. Sometimes you get some inexperienced wrestlers. They're just going for headlocks. So, and the upper weights got to watch your ties and, stay under control. Taking shots from the outside a little bit there is Josh White's got to close the gap. Coach is in the corner yelling him for what's called a Russian, where kind of have 2 hands on his one. Can work a lot of takedowns from that Russian series. Actually, not seeing it a lot this year, so I know in the practice room, Coach Detchen's got them working on a lot of Russian series just because it'll confuse a lot of wrestlers if they haven't seen it a lot. And he's in on a single as Josh White, and now he's got to try to finish that. Looks like he's going to run out of real estate, and he does, but I'd like to see him transfer over to a double leg there as he's turning that corner, because when you turn the corner on just a single there, you're really not going to get too much. So he needs to transfer over to a double leg, and then you can turn the corner with that head momentum. And he's in on a double. Nice shot on that. Kind of almost like a blast double. He kind of came in with his head almost to the chest, looked like almost in his stomach. And oftentimes when you do that, it's almost like a takedown in football or a tackle in football. Oftentimes the opponent will go right down to his back, and he had that there, just wasn't able to capitalize on back points. So he's going to go up to 4-0 with about 24 seconds left to go in the first period. So a nice first period. He's working a half there. We're trying to reach down to a near ankle. Looking for some breakdowns. Coach is in the corner for Goffstown telling him to be behind the elbows, which is where you want to be on top. Oftentimes you get high, and that's where the opponent can get an escape. And it looks like he's got a one-on-one. He's got a half, and he's kind of lucky that the time ran out because he ran that half a little bit too hard, got his height too high. And sometimes when you do that on a half, you can actually get turned. And kind of a little bit of a sloppy half on Josh White's part there. So we're going to go neutral. Start of the second period. Josh White's going to be up 4-0. Coaches for Spaulding telling their wrestler to snap and spin. So Josh got to be careful with his ties, but he's got another good double leg, and he's going to get that. And that's going to bring your score to 6-0 for Josh White. Josh White, really tough, strong kid at 195 pounds. Again, just a little inexperienced, but by the end of the season, I expect him to be doing a lot of great things, and hopefully at States is when he wants to peak and have a good showing at States this year. A lot of our wrestlers, unfortunately, don't have a lot of state papers because they didn't wrestle varsity last year at the state level. Calling a reversal there, which was a little quick. Could have been a loss of control, but called a reversal, and then Josh White got a quick reversal as well. So the score is going to be 8-4, which I don't think that is right. They have it as 8-4, but I don't believe that is right. But nevertheless, Josh is going to be up with a minute to go in the second period. Goffstown coming off a tough week. They had the Lowell Holidays, which is arguably the toughest tournament that Goffstown will go to, besides obviously States, New England's, and MOC's and all of that. Timberland is obviously a tough tournament, and Cap City as well. But Lowell's, you get the best of the best in as far as New England goes. Jack St. Jean placing fourth again, which is the highest the Goffstown wrestler has ever placed at that tournament. Jack placed fourth last year and placed fourth again this year, and did a really good job of wrestling back and taking fourth place. It's a grueling two-day tournament, and Jack was really put to the test during those 2 days and kind of showed what he had at 120 pounds, which was great to see because that's where he's going to be at States and MOCs and hopefully New England's if everything goes right for Jack this season. So Josh doing a good job of riding pretty tight. He's riding a little bit high. So again, that's something we can work on in the practice room, is just kind of clenching down on his hips, want to pinch hips, riding kind of tight behind the elbows, working for hand control. Looks like he's trying to look for a half. So did a nice job riding there. And it's going to be Goffstown's choice going into the third. So let's see where they put Josh White. Looks like he's got some contact issues or maybe some blood time going on. Not quite sure. Well, let's see where Coach Detchen wants to put Josh White going into the third period. Again, the score right now, 8-4. So Goffstown's going to be wrestling Spaulding, and then immediately after Spaulding, they're going to be wrestling Souhegan. Spaulding and Souhegan, both of them kind of light teams, meaning that they don't have a lot of wrestlers. So even though this will be back-to-back matches for them, a lot of those matches will be forfeits. So in a sense, both of those teams combined really make up one full team. So even though it's a try, it's kind of like just a regular duel for Goffstown tonight. Coming off a tough week, they had Lowell Holidays last week, and then they had the Makeup Hollis Brookline tournament because that got snowed out initially, so they had that on Friday. So it'll be good to have a tournament-free weekend this weekend. They just have a quad coming up on Saturday, so a little bit of a breather for these. And Josh did a really bad job there going right to his back. Never want to turn into your opponent, and that's what he did. So again, those are things that they can fix in the practice room. You can't really teach strength, and Josh has that, but we can teach technique. Spaulding kid looks like he's got a front headlock. Hip toss going out of bounds. So again, with these upper weights, kind of got to be careful of tosses, hip tosses, headlocks. And the coach is in the corner telling Josh to just work his stand-up. No need to kind of do anything funky and turn into him. That's when we're going to get in trouble. So he goes right to his stand-up there. He's locking hands. They don't call it. Looked like he might have released his hands there as Josh was on the mat. Kind of a no call there, but he got an escape, and right away, he goes into a double leg, but he broke his hip down. We don't want to break our hips down. There he goes, and he's doing a nice job now getting back to his knees. So we don't want to break our hips. We want to keep our hips kind of under us. Looks like Spaulding's going to get a takedown here, and he does. That's going to bring your score to 9-8, which again I don't think is the accurate score, but we'll go with that. Josh White's going to get a reversal here. Could get a half right to his back, and he doesn't look for it. Looks for it a little late, and I don't see him getting it. So he's looking for a power half right now on top. See his one arm is behind his opponent's neck, or on top of his neck, trying to do what's called a power half. You can kind of work his elbow out and get into a half and hopefully turn him from there. So we got an 11-8 score with 30 seconds left to go as the referee calls stalling on Spaulding. So No movement on bottom, so he's got a stalling. And right there, he turns right into a half, which, again, Josh could have just put him right away with a half. But, again, just not getting our hips under us. And, again, that just comes from experience. And he goes right to his back there. And, again, that just comes from experience. He does a good job of wrestling out of there, but he needs to get a point. He needs to get a point here. It looks like he's down by 1. And with that move, Spaulding is going to go up 13-11 and take this match. So kind of a funky match, a lot of rolls, and Josh has got to watch that as he progresses this season, is just watching those rolls, because he was just putting himself in the bad positions there at the end of that match. Actually, all through that match, kind of put himself into a bad position there as he's walking off frustrated. He's obviously the stronger in that match, just a little bit inexperienced, and he's just got to get his body under control, knowing what to do with his body, and that's the important part. And that just comes with knowing yourself on the mat. That's going to bring us to 2:20. Nigel Okereke is going to be taking a forfeit for Goffstown. So he's not going to have a match tonight. Nigel coming off, like I said, a tough Lowell Holiday tournament, tough Hollis Brookline tournament. So he's got the night off tonight. He just has to watch. Take a forfeit for Goffstown. That's going to bring your team score to 18-3. Nigel had a good showing at the Salem Blue Devil Classic. Took second at that tournament. Heavyweight, it looks like Spaulding is going to take a forfeit because Goffstown doesn't have a heavyweight. So that will bring us right around to 106, where we are going to see Ryan Mackey take a forfeit because Spaulding does not have anybody at 106. So, again, a lot of forfeits are going to happen between Spaulding and Souhegan. A lot of holes in both of their lineups. So, Ryan Mackey, who's suffering a little bit of nose injury, so you're going to see him wearing the wrestling mask, which is something that I used to wear when I was a young wrestler, and I can tell you it's not fun wearing it. It's hard to breathe. Sometimes the mask comes into your nose, kind of gets a little bit tough to breathe as Ryan Mackey comes to the center, and I don't believe Spaulding weighed in 106-pounder, so Ryan Mackey's going to take the forfeit for Goffstown. But we will have a matchup at 113 pounds, and we're going to see Matthew Familia, who took third at the Hollis Brookline tournament, at 106 pounds. He's going to be wrestling tonight at 113 pounds. He's going to be wrestling freshman Austin Brunette. So let's see what kind of wrestler comes out with Matthew Familia. It's sometimes he comes out and works his good takedowns as he's putting his anklet on backwards, but now he's got it on right, so nice job there, Matthew. So let's see what he does here at 113 pounds. He's likes to work the front head series, as you see him kind of trying to work on snap downs right now, and he has it. Nice spin behind, so he's been working that pretty well. He worked that a lot at the Hollis Brookline tournament where he took third, so he's got to watch his height here. That's actually a good position for us because we want to jump to that and actually run a half on that side, and he's got an illegal headlock. So with that headlock, when you grab an opponent's head, you have to have an arm with it. You can't just grab the opponent's head. That's technically a chokehold, which is okay in MMA, but not for wrestling. So they're going to get this reversed. It's going to be 3-0 Matthew Familia, and he's going to be on top with 1 minute and 36 seconds left to go in the first period. So Matthew right away going to the far ankle, doing a nice job of pinching his hips here. Looks like he's might be running a half on that side. And he looked like he had a full Nelson there and kind of might have gotten away with that one. So he's running a half on that side, but he needs something else with it. Needs to kind of drop down either to an ankle as he's getting his height a little bit high. Looks like he's trying to throw a leg in. Can't really tell from this angle if he has a leg. Doesn't look like he does. He's trying to run that half Nelson on that side, and he's got it. He's got the half now. He's got his opponent broken down on a hip, which is great. He's grabbing a far ankle, which we need to grab the near ankle. So there he goes. He's grabbing a near ankle. He's going to reverse that half. He needs to reverse that half, and he should get some back points, but doesn't transfer over that quick. But doing a good job of staying behind his opponent here. And there he goes. He's going to get some back points here. The ref's a little bit slow getting over. I would have called at least 2 back points. He does. Didn't see him count, but he did a good job there getting over. So that score is going to be 5-0. And Familia's doing a really good job of controlling his opponent on bottom. Looks like he's got a 1-on-1.5 here. He's just got to calm down here, readjust. His body weight's a little bit over. He's got to kind of sink his chest down, and there he goes with the fall at 113 pounds for Familia. So again, coming off a strong showing at Hollis Brookline tournament at 106 pounds where he took 3rd place, and here tonight doing a really good job, showing some really good technique. So nice showing for Matthew Familia at 113 pounds. So he's had a nice few days for Goffstown. And I think that will do it for the duel between Goffstown and Spaulding. Spaulding has nobody else in their lineup, so Goffstown will obviously take that duel over Spaulding. Kind of good just to have a light week for Goffstown, even though they do have a match tonight, but it's kind of a light match. Either team that they're wrestling, they have a lot of holes, so almost like it's not an off night, but for a lot of the wrestlers it will be an off night. And then this weekend, no tournaments. It's just a quad, so that'll be a nice way to kind of relax after a really tough last couple of weeks over Christmas vacation. 2-day tough Lowell holiday tournament, and then the Hollis Brookline tournament, which usually is before it. After the Lowell holidays, usually have a nice little break, nice little not vacation, but a few days off. But Hollis Brookline got snowed out the first time, so wrestled in on Friday, actually in another snowstorm, where we had a pretty good showing. Couple of thirds, couple of seconds. Peyton Bickford did a really good job of taking second. Jack St. Jean won at 126 pounds. Would have been nice to see at 120 pounds. It would have had a nice showing between him and Lesperance and Winnicunnet. But Lesperance went 120, and Jack kind of took a break from cutting weight and went to 126 and pretty much tech-pinned his way all the way into the finals. I believe he teched his kid in the finals and didn't pin him, but strong showing for Jack St. Jean after a 4th place at Lowell's and then a win at Hollis Brookline. So a nice kind of dominating week for him. 120 pounds at Lowell's was a deep weight class, strong weight class, and for Jack to push in all the way to the 2nd day and then wind up taking 4th is just a testament to how good of a wrestler he's become and how seasoned he's become as well. So, and he's only a junior, so things are only looking up for Jack St. Jean. Hopefully his senior year he can do some more great things at Goffstown and hopefully win that elusive state title that he's looking for and possibly even place at New England's. We haven't had a New England placer since Caleb Chaka and Mal Shea, I think. They both took 5th or 6th at New England's. Obviously Tommy Foote back in the day took 3rd. Almost won that tournament, should have won that tournament, got taken down last second in his semifinal match and wound up taking 3rd at New England's and then went on to do great things at Williams. So obviously if you do well at New England's, you're going to have a great career of wrestling ahead of you. So captains are coming to the center of the mat between Goffstown and Souhegan. They're going to do a coin toss to see who gets odds, who gets evens for this match. Again, your captains tonight, Emilio Barrier, Jack St. Jean, Peyton Bickford, and Hunter Aldenberg. Hunter, Peyton, and Jack are your 3 captains, and then they do an honorary captain each week, and the captains elected to have Emilio. Emilio's been wrestling really well this season for Goffstown. He's doing a really good job in the room, and he wrestled really hard over the winter break. He advanced to the 2nd day of Lowell's, which is just a feat in itself to just get to day 2 of Lowell's. It's like New England's. If you can get to day 2 in New England's, it shows what kind of wrestler you are. And even though he's a young wrestler, he advanced to day 2. He went 2-2 at Lowell's, which is awesome. That's a great tournament for him. So Emilio's doing great things, and I only see really good things coming for him in the future. Young team, a lot of sophomores on this team, which may not be that great this year because not a lot of veterans, but it's going to be great for years to come if these sophomores can stay with the program and kind of just progress. By the time they're seniors, this team is going to be cranking. Josh White, I know he gets frustrated, but he just needs to stay with it. He's going to learn his body. He's going to learn his body positioning, and he's only going to get better. So if you can look at somebody like Xavier Young, who has really little to no wrestling experience, and what he's been doing this season. Xavier Young is another wrestler who's just a sophomore at a tough weight class at 182 pounds, and for a sophomore, that's really tough to be wrestling in that weight class, but he's doing really well. He advanced to day 2 at Lowell's as well. He placed 3rd at Hollis Brookline, did a really amazing job to place 3rd there. That's a tough weight class, and even though Hollis Brookline's not as tough as a tournament as Lowell's, obviously, it's still a challenging 3 days. It's 2 days at Lowell's and then another day at Hollis Brookline, so that's a really grueling schedule, and Xavier Young just showed that he's not only up for the challenge but ready for even more. So I'm sure Coach Detchen was great to see something like Xavier Young, who I think is going to be the future of Goffstown. I think by the time he gets to be a senior, he's going to be a leader on this team, and hopefully somebody that can possibly push into New England's his senior year. So we'll be looking out for Xavier Young. We'll be looking out for hopefully Josh White, and obviously Jack St. Jean has 2 more seasons this season and next season. So we'll see what that brings. So Souhegan, not sure what weight they are starting at. Looks like they're starting at 120 pounds. And that's going to be a forfeit for Goffstown because Goffstown doesn't have a 120-pounder. So Ryan Hauser for Souhegan is going to be taking a forfeit, and that'll give them a 6-0 start. So that's going to bring up Jack St. Jean, who we haven't seen yet tonight. Jack had a forfeit in his last match, matchup against Spaulding, so he's going to be facing off against freshman Cam Albert, and Cam Albert's going to have his hands full as a freshman wrestling Jack St. Jean. Probably the most, well, definitely the most experienced wrestler on Goffstown. Decorated wrestler at Goffstown already. Wrestled at New England's last year, placed 4th at Lowell's last year, placed 4th at Lowell's this year, so I would expect a dominating performance from him. He's already onto a single, transfers over to a double. He has that quick takedown with just 4 or 5 seconds into the match. He's going for that near ankle. He's going to look to try to get a turn here with that near ankle, possibly step over it for a Turk. Can't really tell if he's got a Western in on that side. Looks like he might have a Western. He's going to be working some hand control. Gave up the Western. He's going in for what we call a ball and chain, where he comes underneath. He's going to go for a tilt here. He's going to be getting some back points. A little bit of a wily opponent here, but he's got 2 back points, so that's going to jump the score to 4-0. Jack can build up points quick, as we saw at the Hollis Brookline. He's going to step over and try to Turk. He's going to elevate that leg, as we see. Once you elevate that leg, that's going to push your opponent's hips up into the mat, which is what you want. He's going to crank that arm bar. Looks like he's going to give up that Turk. But, man, we're going to get a turn here, so that's going to definitely be another 3. He might even get the fall here. If he steps over, he could step over the head here, which he does. Does a nice job of stepping over there. He's quickly up to 7-0 already. So we'll see what kind of Jack wants to do here with this match. Does he want to get some mat time? You know, maybe work a period and a half just to get some mat time, maybe get a sweat going. He's got another tilt. It's going to be 10-0. He's really working those armbar series, working a one-on-one. So he could probably tilt this freshman all day. Again, Cam for Souhegan's got his hands full. He's walking right into a cradle, which is Jack's go-to move, and he's got about 15 seconds to lock this up, and I'm assuming he's going to get the pin here, and he does. So as expected, a dominating performance. You can see that that knee band that he's wearing. It used to be a knee pad back in the day. Malche had it, passed it on to Connor Bork, who wore it last year, and then the other day at practice, Connor gave the knee pad down to Jack St. Jean, kind of like passing the torch. So we'll see who Jack gives it to after his senior year, but it's on him for now, and that's brought obviously Malche a lot of wins in his career. He was a New England placer. And obviously Connor Bork, 4-time state champ, and now Jack St. Jean. And that's going to bring us to 132 pounds, where we see Noah Rapazzo for the first time tonight. Noah didn't have a match against Spaulding, but he has one against Souhegan. He's going to be wrestling freshman Nicolo Lazzari. So see how Noah comes out. Noah wrestled a really tough few days. Lowell Holidays is a tough tournament. So we saw a lot of good competition there. We saw a lot of good competition at Hollis Brookline, and that's exactly what we want. He's in on a little outside single. He's got to transfer over to a double. He's got to dig in on that. He could look for a dump here. Could look for a dump. So sometimes we get in on that. Could get a Kelly dump. Reach for the elbow, kind of dump our opponent. Nice little series there as they go out of bounds. Minute and 15. He's on another outside single, but can't get to it. Opponent's doing a good job of kind of avoiding that outside single. It looks like that's what Noah's wanting to try to do. Wrestling over to now the center of the mat. He's coming up to a headlock as the coaches are saying no, but spins behind and gets two. We don't really teach headlocks at Goffstown, so don't really want to get into a upper body match with our opponents. We'd rather work technique, work shots, and that's what Goffstown is known for taking shots and not really too many throws. So Noah's going to be up 2-0 with 50 seconds left to go in the first period. He's going to start this restart on top. Nice job of blocking the elbow there. He's behind the elbow. He's got bringing his opponent back down. It looks like he's got a cross wrist series going on, and we call that a cat's paw, where he come underneath the shoulders. They're going to be looking for that cross wrist series, and now he's looking for a cradle, and he might have it locked up. Can't really tell from this angle. He's got to watch his height, got to keep his hips. He's going to give up possibly an escape unless he can get behind, but he's going to get loss of control. Nice outside trip there, but again, got to watch his height. Noah's known for kind of trying to get big throws, which doesn't really have to. He gets into matches where he's looking for throws. He's got to spin behind, get his two, because I don't think he got that reversal, but now he does. So it's 4-2, and that's going to be the end of that first period. So kind of some crazy rolls going on. I'm sure Coach Detchen's going to kind of tell him to calm down, work his moves, and that's what I kind of saw. So Souhegan's choice, they're going to defer over to Goffstown, and Coach Detchen wants to put Noah Raposa down for the start of the second period. 4-2, Goffstown in the lead here. So with the forfeit at 120, Souhegan jumped up to a 6-0 lead. Then Jack St. Jean with a pin brought us to 6-6, and now here we are at this match at 132 pounds. So the score's tied. Really, the score's not going to matter because Souhegan has too many forfeits. So his opponent up there looking for a tight waist and ankle. Now he's looking for a cradle. And he's got a dump here if he can do it. He's got to just attack that elbow. Looks like he's going to that outside single, transferring over to a double. He's just got to dig into his opponent now, work your hands up your back so you can kind of just crawl your way up your opponent's back. And that's going to be two. So he's got a 2-point reversal, so that's going to be 4-2. Looks like he's working a power half here on top. He's got it. He's got to jump to the side. He's got to jump over. He's got his legs caught in between there, so now he does a good job. He's working that cross wrist there. So now he's just got to calm down. He's got plenty of time. He's got a minute. I like to see him reverse this half here. Kind of scoop the head here. He needs to come around, scoop the head, elevate the head, and what's that going to do is going to put his opponent's elbows down or shoulders down on the mat, and that's exactly what he's going to do, and he's going to get the fall for Goffstown. So a nice job, Noah Raposa, getting the win. Again, coming off a couple tough days, 2 days at the Lowells and then the Hollis Brookline. So nice to see Noah getting the win, not only getting the win, but also the pin at 132 pounds for Goffstown. That's going to put them up 12-6, going into 138 pounds, and we're going to see senior Jake Upton for Souhegan wrestling senior co-captain Hunter Aldenberg. So we got senior versus senior here. Souhegan doesn't have anybody. Oh, now there's somebody warming up. Not sure, quite sure why he's still got his warm-ups on when he's just about to wrestle, but nevertheless, that's where we're at with tonight. Kind of been one of those nights. A little bit bizarre of a night. I'm not quite sure his opponent even knows how to put his headgear on. So, not sure you guys can see what I'm seeing, but if you could, it's quite the scene here. Not really sure why you wouldn't be ready to wrestle. Back in my day, that would not be called for. But here we go. Getting close to my bedtime, and finally he gets undressed and ready to wrestle. So let's see what Hunter Aldenberg can do. He's been having a stretch of really, really tough opponents at 138 pounds. He's strong at 138, but 138, it's a really deep, strong weight class. So let's see what Hunter can do here tonight. Senior versus senior as they come to the center of the mat here. Nice little shot there. He transfers over to a double, and really nice job transferring over to the double there, turning the corner and getting two. So nice job there. I know Coach Detchen has been working this week in particular with shot and shot finishes. Getting in, we have no problem getting in on shots. We've had a little bit of an issue finishing shots. So working, getting into that double, turning the corner really quick. Looks like the Souhegan kid's trying to do a switch. Hunter does a nice job of following him. He's got the half in, and he's got the near ankle. So he's got to sky that, and he does. So he does a nice job skying it. And now he's just got to drive that half in. Maybe work a one-on-one, and that's exactly what he does. And they're calling for a jam-jam, which basically means you want to bring your opponent to you, which gives you a little bit more leverage. And then as you're bringing your opponent to you, close to your chest, you jam them back and punch basically your fist to the mat, and that's going to bring over a turn. We call that a jam-jam. We teach that a lot. It's a really good way of turning your opponent from a half. A lot of times they kind of like to ball up, as we say, and try to avoid that turn. And there's a little cheap little tilt he could have done there. Getting into a little bit of a funk there is Hunter, so he's got to get his hips up here and make sure he's not turned. He's got to get his hips up. He's got to keep sliding his hips out. He's got to let go of that arm, let go of the head, just belly out at this point. He's already given up two, so we just want to belly out and not give up any back points. So he's doing a good job of fighting here, but he's just got to try to get that arm through, punch the arm through. It looks like he's going to give up some backs. And again, that's just simple positioning, just putting ourselves in bad position there. So let's see if Hunter can do a good job of fighting off his back here. He's got a high leg over, which he is. And he's going to get out of that kind of disastrous position that he was in. He's going to be down 7-2 going into the second period. Not too horrible, though. I see Hunter coming back. As long as he puts himself in a good position, I think he can take this kid down all day. So we'll see what we do on top here. Hunter's going to start the second period on top. Coach Devriant is arguing the score. I didn't think it was 7-2. I thought it was 5-2. They have 7-2 up there. Coach Devriant is in the corner looking for a reversal and 3 near fall points, which should be 5-2. And they do. They readjust the score to 5-2. So they had 7-2 up there, change it over to 5-2. So it makes it a little bit easier for Hunter to come back. Instead of a 5-point deficit, he's only down 3 points. So he's got a bar on that near side. Needs something with it. It looks like he's got a one-on-one. Can't really tell from this angle. As they come to the mat and they go out of bounds, so they're going to get a restart. Hunter's going to come back on top on this restart. Looking for a strong first move of Hunter on top. Again, looking at a sit-out switch for the Souhegan. And Hunter did a nice job of blocking that. He's got a half. But again, he's got to watch his hips. Can't break them down. He's got to just stay under control, not try to force the half over. Just work his one-on-one, work his half. Coming back on top. And he's going to cut him. So that's going to bring our score to 6-2. Kind of like Hunter's chance at neutral. I kind of think he's got a better shot. Showed it in the first period. He had a really nice shot in the first period. So let's see. Opponent working almost like a shuck by, almost to a Russian, but gives that up. He's got in on a double, so let's see if he can turn the corner here. He's got to sink in that double. Got to get his leg out. Again, breaking the hip is which we don't want to do. And his opponent's coming down, dropping a plow, which is actually what we teach. Near ankle, drop the plow and kind of get over. So Hunter's got to try to do a better job of just, when he's in on that double, turning the corner. So it looks like he's going to give up two. That's going to be 8-2. And let's see if we're going to get any near fall points. His opponent looks like he's working a cross wrist series. He's going to get some back points here. See if he can avoid the fall. He's only got 20 seconds left. Fight off his back. See how good of a job he can fight off his back here. And he's not going to be able to do it. So that's going to bring the fall for Souhegan. at 138 pounds. So again, just a couple body positioning issues, actually. You know, not finishing shots and just getting our bodies into awkward positions. And that's going to bring up Eric Choquette. He's going to be taking a forfeit at 145 pounds, so no matches for Eric Choquette tonight. He's got the night off. And I believe Emilio Barrier is going to be taking the forfeit at 152 pounds, so he's got the night off as well. I see him over in the corner, but not sure what's going to happen at 152 pounds. I think they may take a no contest, so nobody at 152 pounds, which means Emilio will take the forfeit at 160. I'm not sure what they're going to do here. Kind of a weird night tonight. And that's going to be no contest at 152 pounds for either team. So Souhegan doesn't have anybody else in the lineup into 106 pounds. So again, that's what we're working with here. A lot of holes. That's going to bring us to 160 pounds. Looks like they're going to bring out Emilio Barrier to take the forfeit at 160. And it looks like next up to take a forfeit will be David Gibson. So David Gibson's night is done for Goffstown. And then that will bring up 182 pounds. It looks like Xavier Young should have been taking a forfeit, but maybe they're just going to do no contests. At this point, it doesn't really matter. Not sure what they're going to do. So it looks like they're just going to do no contests. So they're just going to do no contests. No sense of taking forfeits. Souhegan has no opportunity to win this duel, so they're just going to take no contest to get the night moving along a little quicker, and that's going to bring us back down to 106 pounds, where we're going to see Ryan Mackey and freshman James Reiser. So let's see how Ryan fares tonight. Ryan actually lost to Matthew Familia at 106 pounds and the Concy semis at Hollis Brookline. And then Matthew Familia went on to take third place there. So we had Goffstown versus Goffstown at 106 pounds in the Concy semis at Hollis Brookline. So let's see what Ryan Mackey can do against freshman James Reiser. As they come to the center, it looked like James was fishing for that low leg. He's got that outside single. He's transferring over to a double. Ryan's doing a good job of cross-facing there and gets to his belly. Doesn't get up any back points, so he's going to be down 2-0 pretty quick in his first period. So minute 40 seconds left to go. And Mackey will be down 2-0. Mackey's working over in the center. It looks like his opponent's got a 2-on-1 on him. They go out of bounds, so Mackey's going to run back to the center. He's going to be down with a minute and 28 seconds left to go in the first period. So again, team scores don't really matter right now. Goffstown obviously won a duel against Spaulding, no one duel against Souhegan, so it's just getting individual matchups at this point. So Ryan Mackey will obviously have a match, and then next up will be Matthew Familia. He'll have actually two matches tonight. He already had a match against Spaulding, and he's got a match against Souhegan. So Mackey's in a little bit of trouble. He's got his arm barred up. Can't really do much from this position. He's kind of work hand control. But can't. He's got double bars, and his opponent's going to walk over his head to try to get some back points. It's in pretty tight. So this is not the position Mackey wants to be in. It's really hard to bridge from this position. And he's going to get the fall at 106 pounds. So pretty impressed by the 106 pounds for the Souhegan. He's only a freshman, but he looked really tough. So we'll see what he does later in the season. But he looked like he was a tough 106-pounder. So tough matchup for Ryan Mackey tonight against a really tough freshman for Souhegan. And that's going to bring up Matthew Familia once again. So this will be his second match tonight, which is good. He needs a lot of matches this season. Didn't really wrestle much last season. Started off the season, wrestled just a little bit, and then took the rest of the season off. So as many matches as he can get in the beginning of the season will only benefit him. So Matthew Familia is going to be wrestling freshman Sam Terrell. So we got sophomore against freshman in this 113-pound matchup. So watch Familia. He likes to come to that head, as he did. He likes to work snap downs, which could get him into trouble if his opponent just lowers his level and kind of shoots. But doesn't happen there. He does a good job spinning behind. He's going to get his 2. Will not get his 2. Looked like he could have got the spin behind there. So what he's got to try to do is attack that grip, spin behind, which he does. So once he gets behind that leg, maybe work a Western in there. So he's got to watch his height because it looked like his opponent was trying to fish for hands when he was getting high. Sometimes we can get turned actually that way. So he does a nice job there working that near ankle and a half. He's going to run out of real estate, so he's got to suck him back in. He's got to suck him back in to get some back points. So he's just got to be mad awareness right there. Nice job. Nice job being aware of where he is on the mat, kind of bringing his opponent in. Can't get a pin out of bounds, so did a nice job of getting his opponent's shoulders in bounds. And I think that will do it. I do not believe Souhegan has any more wrestlers, so that will do it for tonight's try, actually, against Spaulding and Souhegan. So Goffstown's going to pick up 2 wins tonight. They'll pick up a win against Spaulding. They'll pick up a win against Souhegan. And that'll bring them into the weekend where it's kind of a light weekend, no tournaments this weekend, which I'm sure everyone's kind of relieved for after a tough Christmas break with the low holidays and Hollis Brookline tournament. So this weekend they have Londonderry, White Mountains, and BG. So we'll see how they do against those teams. And then next week away, I believe, against Wyndham. So that was tonight's matchup. So thank you for tuning in. Again, 2 wins for Goffstown tonight over Spaulding and Souhegan. And that'll bring them into the weekend where they will be facing off against Londonderry, White Mountains, and BG. So this is Chad Detchen signing off for another GTV edition of Goffstown Wrestling.